Thank you, Steve, and welcome to Canberra's Fairburn Park for the running of round one of the 1995 New South Wales Dirt Track Championships. The types of machinery that you'll be seeing in action today: the conventional motocross bike as ridden by Jamie Stauffer from Newcastle, the gladiators of the field, the sidecar boys and their toys, the Woodhead brothers from Gunnedah. They'll be out there giving it their best shot. So too will the man that we're about to interview, 29 times Australian Dirt Track champion Chris Watson from Newcastle on his Dirt Track slider. Welcome to Canberra for round one, Chris.
Thanks, Lance.
How's the action so far? You've been out for your early practice session. What's the circuit conditions like?
The track is very fair, I think, for both types of bikes today. The sliders are going to do it a little bit harder than the day. Motocross bikes with the wider, slicker tyres, so we'll find it easier. I think it's good racing.
And you're coming back from injury after a long track accident over at Port Pirie. How are you feeling?
I got a bit of a sore wrist still. I broke my wrist and shoulder about 4 weeks ago, and a little bit sore, but at the end of the day, hopefully it'll be okay.
All the very best of luck. Hopefully another New South Wales title coming your way.
We're going to try. Thanks.
Well, let's see how Chris Watson does in this, the first heat of the Can-Do Carpentry Services 250cc Championship for 95. He started slow on the extreme outside. Gavin going up the inside. There's Tony Primmer even closer on the inside, but Watson swoops around the outside and takes up the running and heads the field up the hill here at Canberra's Fairburn Park for the first of 3.5 laps. You'll notice the difference in the riding styles of the first four competitors over the rest of the field as compared to those that you saw last week. Watson goes a little bit too wide there. The sliders, they're certainly finicky little bikes indeed, and they need to be continually slid around a corner as opposed to the motocross riders and their styles, which means that they've got to go on the extreme inside nice and hard, break late, and then power on early. We pick the field up as they come past the strike line on the second lap, and it's Gavin that leads over Tony Primmer in second placing. He takes a little bit of a lower line there compared to Gavin and in third placing, 29 times Australian champion Chris Watson. Have a look at the way that these riders slide their bikes through the right, then swoop across to the left-hand side. Tony Primmer, he's in second place. He hasn't given up the chase over Gavin out there in front. Tony Primmer, son of Greg Primmer of the 1980 era, a renowned dirt track rider throughout Australia, winning multi-championships, as to the man in third placing, Chris Watson. Look at the different lines that they're taking. Watson in that time around, he's gone a little bit wider of the ruts on the inside of that left-hander, but that means that he's got a better style through the right-hander. Gavin he's riding this bike hands and heels up the hill. He likes to slide it towards the outside. That's allowed Primmer up the inside, side by side through the fastest part of this circuit. But he takes the lead into the hairpin turn for the last time here at Canberra, and that means that young Tony Primmer on board machine 25 on screen now has to slide himself into second placing. He's not given up though, neither has Watson, but Watson last lap around was looking down at the bike, and it looks like he might have some minor mechanical problems. So coming up the hill for the last time, Gavin he knows he's got victory inside. Checkered flag on display. Gavin in first, Tony Primmer second, and Chris Watson looking down at the engine. Definitely mechanical problems, but taking third placing. The Specialty Fasteners 250cc Championship heat number 1 on the line now. A fairly even start. Everybody getting a good start there across the line. Taking the early lead though down into turn 1 is Anderson. Riders all over the place. The rider in about 5th place from there. He's gone in a little bit too hard, hit the back of the bike in front of him, consequently lost the front end, and he's now got his backside trackside. Number 97 it is that leads up the hill at young Anderson. There's Steve Croker in second place. He's slotting himself up into third as Bisley, and Nathan Williams on board 72 in about 4th placing. So leads the field down through the right-hander for the first of 3.5 laps. It's Anderson on board number 97, and he has rather a commanding lead over the rest of the field. Just look at the different styles on board these motocross bikes that the riders need to execute. The style is so much different to the slider that you see on screen there now, young Patton. All of them now side by side almost as they enter the braking area, known as the hairpin turn, turn number 3. Just look at the body language, the movement on board the bikes by these riders, as evident there by Steve Croker on number 94. He's sliding from one side of the machine to the other as Bisley now pops his nose in a cheeky move up the inside of Croker, but it's Anderson that still leads as Croker now pops his nose up around the outside of Anderson. Anderson side by side going through the fastest section of the circuit. That's allowed Bisley up the inside. They're almost rubbing shoulders and swapping paint brands as they go into the hairpin turn there. They're all side by side. Well, Anderson has lost out there. Croker's now on the inside leading. Bisley's gone so far wide he's had to cut across the daisies on the inside of the field. And Nathan Anderson on board number 72 has slotted himself up into third placing. Great action as I speak. Anderson up into second placing. Bisley up into third placing. Well, what was once first is now back to fourth. The rider I'm referring to is young Anderson. So Croker it is that leads. Williams in second. Bisley third. Anderson relegated quite comprehensively back to fourth placing. Williams is a real mover and shaker in the field at the moment on board 72. He's now slotting himself, lining himself up, I should say, for a manoeuvre around the outside of Steve Croker if he can possibly get the drive out of turn number 1 down the bottom of the course. There goes Bisley up the inside of Anderson now, side by side almost as they go across the line. Croker in first, Bisley second, and Williams having to settle for third.